So when you make an offer to a kid, and we've been through it, right? So I want the people here to who are listening and learning about this process. For me, that's been the biggest thing, is trying to help people understand what this really looks like behind the scenes. Need an answer, right? But the scholarship money has an impact on that, right? You only have a certain amount of money that you can offer, and the bigger the offer, a lot of times you can't offer that money to somebody else till you get an answer, yes or no. So when you have an athlete who's getting substantial money, that timeline shrinks. Am I right about that?
Yeah, you are. And I think every staff is different. Some coaching staffs make it exploding. In other words, like give you X amount and then it's just gone. No ifs, ands, or buts. And some have a little bit different time frame. But when you're talking significant amount of scholarship money, yeah, the timeline does shrink. And what happens when there's a delay is the market shifts around you. Like the market's just like any other industry, there's a market for value of player here. And it shifts and it's set by other schools. The timeline shifts quickly. So, like, coach has got a great phrase that he uses: prepare with urgency, but don't be urgent. You don't get lost in the minutia or the stress of the moment, but you're ready to make a move should you need to.
Right.
If somebody says, hey, your scholarship is only good for X amount of time, or if Johnny picks this school, then like we need to make a move here. Are you ready to make that move? Because the dance happens so quickly for a lot of kids, at least at this level, even at Navy. I was recruiting eighth graders back then, mind you. It goes quick because your competitors are also working at a pace that they set, and you don't know that stuff, but you also know that if you don't act quickly enough or you're not concise and clear and you don't provide enough information, then it delays the ultimate decision that the family has and it works against you. So,
So let's say it's September 16th, you've made an offer to a kid, he's on the board, up pretty high. Let's call him an attackman, Joe Schmo. And he calls you up, he says, Coach Wellner, I loved my visit, but I'm going to go to a different school. So what does your staff do immediately in that situation? What does it look like on the board?
first of all, it's a little bit of like, oh man, and the words are a little bit harsher. And, like,
This is PG-13, so we don't have to
the
be too
best
careful.
thing is when Coach and I are like we're lockstep, right? And like I got Mrs. Corrigan on in the background, like just lose. She's an amazing cheerleader and or she's upset too. So it's pretty fun to hear the words that come out. We spend a lot of time together, obviously, but yeah, we're ready to move. Like if X happens, then we're ready to go to Z.
You put a line through the board, hypothetically, if you're in the office, and then the next kid who he may or may not be on deck, you may have contacted him and you're kind of slow playing that a little bit, whatever it is, you don't have to tell me. But then all of a sudden you call, and now the call is more urgent, right? Now
Yeah,
it's like, hey, we got to get you on campus. And because now you know this is the next guy. Is that kind of how
right.
it works?
Yeah, 100%. I think if you're clear with somebody and you try to be, you set the expectations so that they understand, hey, like where not necessarily where they fit on your team, but necessarily where they fit on the board in terms of like, hey, we have like two other guys, but you're the guy. Like if this doesn't work and it's uneasy conversations, uncomfortable for all parties, but it's the truth and it's the reality. I think if you can be as honest and forthright with families and the young men, then ultimately they're one way or the other, they're going to remember that moment, whether they come to the school you're at or not. And that's okay. Like I appreciate it both ways. I rather deal with, and you and I have had some really honest conversations. I'd rather be honest and upfront because ultimately it is a small world and none of us know where we'll be in the next year, whether as a coach or a player. And you just never know when those stars align again. And you want to make sure you're doing right by all parties. So like same thing can be said for recruits and their families. If it's just not meant to be, that's okay. I'd rather know. Like we don't have to dance around or be secretive. That's okay.
Right.
And I respect the young men that are like, hey, coach, it's been great, but it's not for me. No problem. And while it stings, you move on. We go to do our next business, and they do their business because the dance happens so quickly for a lot of kids. At least at this level, even at Navy, and I was recruiting eighth graders back then, mind you.